So welcome everybody to this session. We're going to talk today about keeping up to date with Scopus. My name is Lucia Scumbi. I'm a senior customer consultant for research intelligence with Elsevier, and I'm happy to be back again this week. Last week, I couldn't join. I just activated the session, but I couldn't join myself. I'm so happy to be here today. So we've already gone through much of the introduction. As you know, we are recording the session. It will be made available afterwards. And as Tureya also mentioned, you will receive an automatic email from Zoom, and the website is waiting for you. So as soon as you get your email, you can have your code and you can get your certificate. Tureya also mentioned this is the second last in a series. So we are talking today about keeping up to date with Scopus, and the next session next week, same time, we are going to talk about how to export from Scopus. How many of what can you export from Scopus? So for today's session, it might be slightly shorter. Perhaps you will be happy to know that. But I'm going to do just a little bit of an introduction. I'll recap on Scopus like we do every week, and then we'll go into looking into the features that support you to keep up to date. How to set up alerts, how to sort, how to filter, and then also how to manage your alerts. And as always, we will also have time for questions. I'm first going to do a few slides, and then I will go online and demo everything in Scopus as well. Right, so let's just start with a recap of what is Scopus. It's a global multidisciplinary database. It helps you to discover academic literature, and it includes visualization tools as well, so that you can analyze search results, and you can also get metrics about research performance. So Scopus covers the journals of more than 7,000 publishers. Those 7,000 publishers have more than 27,000 journals. We index those journals in Scopus, and we also link every publication to an author profile and to an affiliation profile. So there are more than almost 100,000 affiliation profiles. So that is, when you publish the affiliation of your institution that you mentioned, we link it to that affiliation profile and also to all the authors that are listed on the paper. Very important to always, when you complete affiliation information, when you publish, to do it as complete as possible. The full name of the university is important. Right, so Scopus also has many other functionalities, so you can analyze journals and find journals. You can assess the impact of research. You can decide who you want to collaborate with, so you get to know other authors that are publishing. You can find the current research, which is the one that we're focusing on today. So just to give a little bit more detail about what is covered, so you can see that we are covering all the broad subject areas, physical sciences, health sciences, social sciences, as well as life sciences, and not only journal articles. Journal articles are the most prevalent publication type, but also covering conferences, conference proceedings, almost 12 million conference papers available in Scopus, as well as books and patent information. Scopus is updated daily, and a large number of the papers are open access. So we cover almost more than 6,000 gold open access journals, and a gold open access journal means that the entire journal, everything that is covered in that journal, is open access, so you can get the full text. So all the content that we have in Scopus goes through an evaluation process. So the journal editor would contact Scopus. They would present their journal to Scopus, and the Scopus team will do an evaluation, just a brief evaluation to check whether the journal is peer-reviewed, whether it has English abstracts, whether it's available online. And then it goes to the Content Selection and Advisory Board, which is independent. It's independent from Scopus, and they look at the quality of the journal and decide whether the journal will be indexed in Scopus. Right? So this is one of the major differences from Google Scholar, for example, where there is no selection process that is done. So Google Scholar uses a harvesting system whereby academic looking publications are harvested and made available in Google Scholar, right? So difference there, Scopus is curated, everything is selected by hand, and Google Scholar, much bigger database, but there's no quality control, basically. So just for you to understand the difference between these databases. So going on to our topic of today, keeping up to date is, of course, very important. And the problem, why this is difficult, is, to do research, you really need to stay up to date within your field to ensure that your study fits into the larger context of scientific knowledge that is out there, also to prevent duplicating work that has been done already. So to make sure that you are not duplicating research, a lot of effort goes into research, so you don't want to waste your time. Important to use a large database such as Scopus to make sure that the research has not been done before, right? So data from Scopus, we analyze the data, and from 2008, the number of articles produced worldwide for science and engineering publishing, it has increased from 1.8 million to 2.6 million. It's an average growth rate of about 4% per year. So you can see that the increase in knowledge production in the world is very high. About 13,000 documents are added to Scopus every day. So this makes it very difficult for scientists to keep up to date with what is being published, and so it is very necessary to have the necessary tools basically to do that. You can't rely on just hoping. Hope is never a good strategy. You need to have a way of keeping up to date, which is constructed. So why is it important? So the first reason why this is important basically is to come up with innovative research subject and future research possibilities. And this is a crucial step in developing, because you need to be aware of what is being published in order to develop a new research topic. You need to understand what is the current state of knowledge on a subject, so that you can identify the gaps that there are, right? So you usually focus your research on gaps. You need to be aware of what is currently being published and researched. A thorough literature search can assist you in identifying a topic that is both narrow enough to be studied in context of a particular test, and broad enough to be applicable to other contexts. Right. So it's important to have access to a research database such as Scopus, which can help you create a very specific search, so that you can identify these types of topics which are narrow enough. And additionally, staying current can help you to determine your long-term research objectives and your career path, right? So very important to have access to this broader range of knowledge, so that you can keep have the context of publishing within your field, but also broader than your field. Sorry, my mouse is getting stuck. So the second reason is that it is important for you to base your research on previous work, of course. So as a researcher, you need the work of other researchers as background for your research. And since research requires testing, validating, refuting hypotheses, staying up to date with the latest articles, it will help you to define your research framework. If you see what other researchers are doing, what methodologies are they following, what kind of tests are they doing, this all adds to your knowledge base in terms of how you can conduct your research. So it's not actually, it's not always just the topic or the findings, but also the way that the research was done is important for you to be aware of. Previous published articles can give you an idea of what approaches of methods you can use, what data you can use, what resources are currently available to you, and then what are the limitations you need to overcome in your research. So learning from other researchers, what did they experience, what limitations did they have, all of these things inform your research as well. And the third reason is more aimed at professors who have to guide the junior researchers in their field. So if you are responsible for advising students on topics relevant to their research projects, being up to date with published articles in your field helps you to also guide them and to give them, direction in terms of their research. So not only for your own research projects, but keeping your students in mind as well. So this not only assists them in their individual career advancement, but it also contributes to the improvement of the field as a whole. So professors are very much aware of the fields in which they are working and how can they advance the research field and encourage younger researchers to pursue, difficult research questions in a specific field. So given the importance of each of these reasons, to a researcher's career, as well as the vast number of research that you have to go through, you need tools to be able to streamline the process and discover relevant articles in an efficient way. So this is what we're going to focus on today, is what processes can you follow, what tools are there, and how can you improve your efficiency. So now we're going to look at what Scopus offers, and I'm going to do quite a broad range, and you can select from that what will be most suitable for you. So the first way in which Scopus really helps you is that when you do a search, a research topic on a topic. So in this example, I hope you can see it clearly. The topic is wind and renewable energy and Africa. So we're looking for research about wind in relation to renewable energy, but specifically for the African continent, that is relevant for the continent. So the first thing when you do your search is remember that you can sort on date, right? So if you want to see what are the most recent publications within the results of your search, just click on the option there, sort on, and you will be able to see what are the newest or the most recent publications. So this is one way. It's not the most efficient way, because the more efficient way would be to set up an alert, but we will get to that. Also remember in Scopus, we have what we call articles in print. So when you do your search, this is still the same search. It is about wind and renewable energy in Africa. You can also click on in this refine panel on the left-hand side of your search results page. I will show this when we do the demo. But there's an option, if you scroll down, there's an option for articles in print. And what this means is that Scopus has agreements with publishers, not all the publishers and not all the journals, but for some of them. They send us their publications when they are accepted, even though they have not been printed yet. So they are not printed, they haven't been published yet. They've been accepted to be published, and they will be published soon. But to make our database more recent, we also incorporate these publications, and then when it is published, we merge the two records in Scopus so that as soon as it is there, it won't be under article in print anymore. It will just be a normal article. Right? So this is another way. If you use this refine panel and you select articles in print, you're going to see the most recent publications that haven't even been published yet. They've been accepted, but they haven't been published. So this is a really nice way to be sure that you are really looking at or seeing the most recent publications. Right? Articles in print, therefore, you can see in this case, for this, there are 4 articles in print. If you select that, your search results will only show those 4 publications. Then another way is, obviously now we get to setting up alerts, but there are different ways of setting up alerts. The first way is to set up an alert for new articles for key authors, right? So there are specific authors in your field who are crucial to your work. So they are usually leading the field. It's very important for you to keep up with what they are publishing. And you should then also consider to follow them on Scopus. And you can do this by searching by author profile. So on the homepage of Scopus, there's an option for an author search. This will take you to the author page or the author profile of the researcher. So remember also that you can identify the top researchers in your field by doing analyze search results. So when you do your search, there's an option analyze search results, and Scopus will tell you who the leading authors are in your field or that field of research, right? So I've selected the top researcher. I always want to know what this researcher is publishing. So I click on the name of the researcher. It takes me to the author profile, and on the author profile page is an option, set alert. So if you click on set alert, it will automatically allow you to then set up the alert. To be able to use alerts, and this is very important, I actually didn't put it in the slide, but it is very important. You have to sign on to Scopus to use alerts, because when you sign on to Scopus, Scopus can recognize you. It can see your email address because your email address is your username. And then based on that, Scopus can, capture that information and you can receive an email. Right? So remember, first thing, most important actually, is to sign on when you're using a Scopus. Right, so that is the first type of alert, is for the author. Follow the most important authors in your field. There are 2 types of alerts that you can set up. The one is for when the author published. So you get a notification when the author has published a new publication, or if the author has been cited. You can also get an alert for that. I think both actually are important, because if that author is cited, it means that it is probably within the field of research that you are interested in, and it could lead you to an interesting new publication to read. The second type of alert that you can set up is for new articles, is for the topic, on the topic level. So when you do your search, we're still using the same example. So we've got wind and renewable energy and Africa. And on just below that, on the search results page, this is the results page, there's also an option, set alert. You click on that alert and you can set up your alert, set up to be notified when more publications are added that match the search query, right? So this alert is aligned with the search query that you are using, right? So on this note, I want to also remind you, and I will show you in the demo as well, that you can also use the refine panel to make your search more specific. So if you don't want to be alerted about any publication, but you only want to be alerted when it's about electric power transmission networks, you can select the specific keyword that has to be in that, within that, topic range. So that's just in terms of refining, making sure that you don't get too many alerts. If you want your alerts to be very specific, you can alter your search query by selecting a specific keyword that you want to add to this search query. I will also demo that. Then in terms of journals, right? So a good way, a very good way actually, to keep up to date with what is being published in your field is to know your journals, right? So when you do your search and you go to analyze search results, there's also a window that will tell you which are the most important journals in your field. And then from that journal, if you click on the name of the journal, it will take you to the journal page. And on the journal page, you can click on a specific year. So you can see in 2023, this journal has already published 220 articles. It's exactly in your field that you are interested. It's the most important journal in this research field. And so you want to also see, so what else are they publishing, right? So you go to the entire, so you can see what they have published over a whole year. Right? So keeping up to the up with the journals is an important way also. There's not a specific, on the journals page, there's not an alert that you can set up. So this is something you have to keep in mind, and just remember that when you want to make very sure that you are finding all the most recent publications in your field, go to the journal. So the journals are available under sources in Scopus. I will also demo that. Right, and then there's the option to also set up an alert for your own profile. So this can be either your own profile or any profile of a researcher. It could be your professor, for instance. If you want to know what your professor is publishing and it's added to Scopus, or your own, so that you know, be sure that it's adding to your Scopus profile, for example, and that your profile is up to date. You go to your author profile using author search, and there's an option set alert, and then you just add your information as you would want to receive the alerts. So there are different alerts and different types of alerts, as I mentioned now. So I've mentioned the search alerts, which are based on the keyword search that you created. So any publication that matches your keyword search, you will be alerted to that. There's the author citation search. So you can be, as I mentioned, you can get an update or an alert when the author has published or when the author has been cited. So these are the three types of alerts that you can set up in Scopus. The alerts are available under your account. So if you click on the little, there's a round icon with your account information, there's an option for alerts, and that is where you can manage all your alerts. So you don't actually have to go to all, one by one, set up these alerts, go to, do a search, go to the author profile. You can manage and set up all your alerts in one place. You can also change them, delete them, change how often you want to receive notifications. So this is your one place where you can manage everything. And then finally, I think it is important to keep in mind not to overwhelm yourself. So it's not advisable to set up alerts for every day, because usually you won't be able, to go and read an article every day. So if you are a full-time researcher, once a month is usually fine, and you set out time once a month and you look at all your new alerts. So that depends on yourself, and also on the type of research field that you are in, but keep in mind that it is better to receive them once a week or once a month and not every day. So set it up so that it's really manageable for yourself. So from here, I will go to Scopus now. And we can do, I just want to show you what this actually looks like online. Just open Scopus. I thought it was open. Okay, so I'm on. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to just put off my camera for a minute. Right, so you can see on the Scopus homepage, we'll just start with that query, start with a search query. So I had wind, and I'm using the curly brackets here for renewable energy. The curly brackets looks for an exact phrase, and we had Africa as well, right? So this is our search. This is our topic that we are interested in. And remember what I mentioned about the first step that you should do is to sign on, right? So here I'm signed on here. If you're not signed on, it will give you an option to sign on. And then you will, if you are signed on, then you will have access to setting up your alerts, right? So very important is to sign on if you have not signed on before, because you have access to, you can use Scopus without that sign on. But in order to use some of the features in Scopus, like the alerts and like the setting up your favorite reference manager, etc., to be able to use these functionalities, you have to sign on. Very, very simple. Just need your email address and a password that you assign to yourself, or you can use any Elsevier password, Mendeley, Science Direct, any Elsevier password, username and password will work. Okay, so I'm signed on, so my alerts are active. I've got my search query. I'm doing the search, and the first type of alert that we can set up is right there. So right where it says, this is my document results, this is my search query, I can set up an alert so that I can receive notifications when other documents are added to this search that match the search query. Right, so I'll click on alert. And then it will just, it will put in the name or the keywords that I'm using, my username, which is also my email address, and then I can select when I want to see this every second of the month. And I can mark this as active or inactive, but active for now, and I will set up the alert. So now I'll get once a month notification if any publications match my search query, right? So that's my search query. I also showed you that if I want to see, the default is not newest. The default would usually be, I can't remember, maybe oldest. But you can, if it's not on date newest, you can select from these options to sort. That you first want to see which are the most recent publications, so that you don't have to scroll through everything. Another option would be then to use your side panel. So the side panel is your refine, how you can refine your results. So I'm scrolling down until I find publication stage, articles in press. There are 4 articles in press. So these have not been published yet. They are brand new. Scrolling down, limit to, and now I will only see those 4 publications that are available in Scopus, even though they have not been, they've not been published. So that is another way of just, you know, keeping up to date with what is the most recent. Let me just go back to my initial search queries. So now the next thing is important is you want to keep up to date, not only with on the publication level, but also on the author level. So you want to know the most important authors in your field. When they publish something new, you want to know about that. So the first step here is then to analyze your search results so that you can know who your most important authors are. Or if you know them already, you don't have to do this, but you can just search for them and scroll down until you see documents by author. And here you can see the names of the authors. If you click on the author, on the name of the author, it will take you to the author profile page. So this is the author profile page, and there's an option, set alert. So I click on set alert. And then you've got 2 choices. You can set up document alert, so when new publications are added, or when this author has been cited. Once again, you have to give your alert a name so that you can remember what it's about. And then you set it up for whenever you want to receive it, and you've got your document. If you also want to do an author alert, then you just do the same for the author citation alert, and you set your author citation alert. We also talked about, I just want to go back because I forgot to show you that when we were looking at the author results. Let's go back to the results page. So in this 542 document results that we received for wind and renewable energy in Africa, when you scroll down, so you don't want to know all the new publications, but you're specifically interested in publications that match a keyword. So this, under the refine panel, you will find, if you view all the keyword, and these are the keywords that the author assigned to the publication, right? So if you want to refine your search to a specific, concept or aspect of your research, you can select that. So you can say, I only want to see publications related to electric utilities or wind turbines. Select the keyword, limit to, and that will automatically then make your search query more specific, and you will only receive alerts for the more specific research query that you have. Once again, there, set up your alert. So I'm just showing you this as a useful way to make sure that your alerts that you get are very specific. And then an interesting one is, as I mentioned, is, let me just go back to my search results. It's also important to keep up to date or to know what the most important journals have published most recently. So when you've done your results, again, you analyze your search results to see what are the most important journals in my field. And I'm using the word important is not the most accurate word here, but these are the journals. They're not the most how can I say it? They don't have the most status, they don't have the highest site score or journal impact factor, but they are, in terms of volume, they have the most publications on this specific topic, right? So renewable and sustainable energy reviews, this journal publishes or has the most publications related to this specific research topic. So you also, it's important then, if this is an important journal in your field, is to also look at the journal more carefully. So if I click on the title of the journal and you scroll down, you can see Scopus content coverage. And now the information is ordered by what the journal published. So in 2023, already 222 documents, and you can look at these publications to see whether they are relevant for you, because this is this is an important journal. So the chances are good that they will be publishing literature that is relevant for your research topic as well. So you can't set up an alert for this, but so just keep in mind that this is also something that you can do. Actually, it says here that you can set document alert. Oh, okay. So sorry, I take that back. There is an option. So you can set up an alert for every time that a publication is published in this journal. Sorry about that. I'll update my slides. So this is based on the journal, and you will receive an update or a notification when a new article is added to this journal. So, in every single field, there are just a number of journals that you are the most important for your field. And so do this extra step and set up an alert for any new publications. Maybe just once a month, because you can see we're only in the beginning of April and they've already published 220 articles. It also happens to be a very good journal. I see now that the site score of this journal is 28.5, which means that this is the average number of times that articles are cited in this journal. And then the final feature that we mentioned was when you set up an alert for a specific researcher. So I'm just going back. I want to go back to my homepage actually. So the Scopus homepage. So if you have a researcher in mind, then you look under the author profile, or it could be your own. It could be your own author profile. So I'm just going to select the first name that comes into my head, which is Abdul Karim, a professor that I know. So I'm going to select my professor, because I want to know every time he publishes something. And on his author profile, the option set alert. I select whether it's a document or a citation alert that I'm setting up. How often do I want to receive this? Every month. And I set my alert. So now we've looked at keywords, we've looked at documents, we've looked at citations, and now also the author profile as well as the journal profile. You can set up an alert on the journal profile as well. And finally, then, important to go to your account, your Scopus account, which is the little red circle. And under your account, there will be an option alerts, and this is where you can manage your alerts. You can also set up your alerts here, and you can manage them here. So you will see the different types of alerts. There's the search alerts, author citation alerts, document citation alerts. So you can't manage your journal alerts here, but all the other types of alerts. So here you can see you can set up a new alert. So you can do it right here. But otherwise, you will manage your alerts here. So, for instance, you can change You can delete it. You can make it inactive if you know you're going on holiday, you don't want to receive any alerts. You can make it inactive. You can change your alert. Say you don't want to receive it every month, but you want to receive it every day. You can change that. And you can also change the actual alert. So you click on the little pen, you can change any information here, also the search term. Right. So I'll just cancel that. So under the account, under your account, and then you can toggle between the different types of alerts and make any changes or even delete. I don't want to receive any more citation alerts for Albert Einstein, so I'm going to delete that one, for instance. Right, so this is the end of the demo. So I'm just going to go back to the slides. And I think we are ready for questions. Just before we get to questions, I just want to remind you that there's always help available in Scopus. So just click on the little, on the question mark. It will take you to the contact information, and you can send an email or you can chat. And when you have logged a query, when you ask a query to the Scopus Support Center, it will also be available under your account. So they will keep you, they will track, or you can track what is the progress on any question that you have asked Scopus, but you can also chat with them. So you chat with a real person, not an AI, it's a real person that can chat, that will chat with you and will guide you to information. Right, so with that, just keeping up to date with all the new things within happening in Scopus, new features, updates, and then we've got time for questions.
Thank you, Lucia. So we begin the question which are here in the QR section. It is necessary that all the references I use in my literature review are from Scopus.
Yeah, so that's not really necessary. So if you do a literature review and you are also using other sources, there are other sources that are, like Scopus is multidisciplinary, it's very large. So you will find many references in Scopus, but if you want to use, say, a more specific subject database, then it's fine. You can also find literature in Google Scholar. Just make sure that when you're using any other database, that you can get a sense of what is the quality of the journal. You know, is it peer-reviewed? Make sure it's not predatory. But yes, you are welcome to use other references as well in your review, as long as you then make sure that they are of high quality.
Are there any tips to get full text for articles who doesn't have the full text available?
So in Scopus, the best way, so in Scopus, we don't really make a distinction between open access and other types of publications. But a way that you can do that is when you're doing your search, is to, and you only want to find, publications that are full text available, you can use the open access option. Let me just show you, it's in the refined panel. So all open access, because there are different types of open access. But you can, if you click on all open access, it will, 176 of these 542, you'll be able to find full text, either on the publisher website. So let me just show you, I'm going to limit to that one. And then if I go to the article, the detail, we call it the detail page, then usually there's a little red flag on the side. Maybe it just needs some time to get there. But there's either a little red flag that says full text, and you can just click on that. There you go, view the PDF. So you can click on that. So it uses Mendeley technology to take you directly to the full text, or you can click on view PDF, and here it will usually take you to the publisher website. And then on the publisher website or on the repository, or you will be able to find the full text. I hope that helps.
Can review and systematic literature reviews narrow the scope of our research?
For systematic reviews, yes, there are different methodologies when you, well, it is a methodology, but if you want to be more specific, is the question about being more specific in your topic. I'm not sure I completely understand the question. But if it's about refining your topic and making your topic very specific, Scopus can be used for a systematic review, as long as you mention specifically in your review that you used Scopus as your data source or your literature source. So you can use a good way to refine is to use the keywords that the authors have used. Just select the relevant keywords, and then you can refine or make your search more specific and do your systematic review on a smaller set of literature. But I'm not sure if I'm answering the question correctly there.
Another question. Can we search in French language?
Yes, you can. If you search in French, just keep in mind that all the abstracts are in English, right? So there are journals that will have a French abstract if you're searching in French, and in English. But not all the journals will have a French abstract. Only some of them. So what you can do is, if you do your search, let me see. Let me just edit that one a little bit. Maybe we can see an example. I'll just take that away. And also maybe that, just to make it a little bit wider search, and search again. So there are two ways of doing this. So this is now very broad, but you can then use your refine panel and scroll right down. Sorry for scrolling. I just went down too far. Right, so there are two ways that you can do. So here in the refine panel on the left-hand side, you can see if you can filter by French. So there are 60 articles that are in French. So you can, where the journal is French, right? So you can do that. That's one way of doing it. You can also use your search queries. So your actual search query, if you're using French terminology here, you can do that, but then you have the risk of only finding articles that were written in French. It will look in the title, and the art and the abstract and the keywords. But yes, it's just, just keep in mind that there are it's a minority of articles that are available in French. But those that would be possible, yes.
Kilusha, there is a question about setting alerts for conferences.
For conference proceedings, for conferences. So we don't have alerts for conferences, but you can set up an alert for a conference proceeding if it has a profile page in Scopus. So I'm not sure if I can show that. Maybe just try. Okay, so if you've got your results, but you're only interested in conference material, so then also, again, you use your refine panel, scroll down, and then until you find the document type and you see conference paper or conference review. You see, you can do that. Just remember, when you select it, you have to limit. So it will, now you're only going to see those papers that are coming, that are conference proceedings. And once you've filtered for that, you will see the proceeding. So this is on the journal level, but not all proceedings have an actual profile. So a profile means that we have almost like an index page for that proceeding. So let me see these. That one has one. That one doesn't have one. Right. That one doesn't have one. Okay. So let's just, if you click on this and you want to receive alerts, you can set a document alert. So this is the proceedings of the annual Offshore Technology Conference, and you will get information when another, paper has been published linked to this conference, and this conference is publishing all their papers in these proceedings. So the answer is yes and no. In some cases you can, in some cases you won't be able to do.
I see here some questions which are not related to our webinars, today's webinar, but if you don't mind, I can ask them, Lucia. If we have time, we take some minutes to answer those questions. Okay, question about how Scopus can serve researchers who wish to publish their articles in Arabic.
Well, the first thing, if you're publishing in Arabic, then you have to find journals that are Arabic. We don't have many Arabic journals that are indexed in Scopus. There's no specific reason for it. There are fewer Arabic journals, and not all of those journals apply to be indexed in Scopus. So I think that is if you want to search for journals that are published in Arabic, I would suggest to use the Scopus list. I think it's the easiest way to do that. So on the Scopus, let me just go to the home page quickly. So on the Scopus homepage, there's an option. I'm just clicking on basic search to get the homepage option here. But you can also see it here. Okay, so this is the home page, and then on the right-hand side, at the top, there's an option sources. So sources is a collection name for journals, conference proceedings, everything that we have in series. And then there's not an option here to search for Arabic, but it is available if you download the Scopus source list. It's an Excel list, and in that Excel list is a column for language. And if you filter on that column, you will see all the journals that are available in Arabic. So that would be a way to find, relevant journals.
Okay. Publishing in an indexed open access journal, is that increasing the chance to be cited more?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So there are quite a number of studies at the moment looking at that. So up to recently, it was interesting, up to recently, it was found that if you publish in an open access journal, you won't necessarily get more citations, but you will get more downloads. So there are more people that are looking at your publication, but not more people that are citing your publication. So citation is still more linked to the quality of the content of the article, not whether it is available or not available in full text. But I would say that at the moment, as the number of open access articles are increasing, it could be because it's increasing a lot. So there's a lot more open access articles available. We could see an increase in citations as well. But I'm giving you a scientific answer now because there have been studies that actually looked into that, and they found up to about, a year or so ago, it wasn't conclusive that you will necessarily get more citations, but you will definitely get more views. So I think when you select a journal, I don't think open access is necessarily the first or most important factor to take into account. I think the quality of the journal is more important than whether it is open access or not. But that's also a personal choice. If you feel strong about open access, then that would also be a good choice. So I hope that gives you an indication.
Okay. It's a question about the difference between ACP and traditional publishing model.
ACP, article cost. Yeah. Okay, so when you publish open access, you usually pay to publish. So you pay upfront all the publishing costs so that the reader doesn't have to pay to be able to read your publication. And if you publish in a subscription journal, then usually you don't pay to publish, but the cost of the publishing comes from the library or the university subscription to that journal. Right. So either way, there are costs involved in publishing. In some cases, there are associations or institutions or universities that sponsor a journal, so they cover the cost of publishing from the institutional side. We call those diamond open access. So, but there's always cost involved when you publish. The open access model just is that you pay your article processing cost upfront so that other people can read it for free. That's the short definition.
How we can search for journal that submit article in press in Scopus?
I don't actually think there's a way unless there is an option. I think in the Scopus source list, there's also a column that says whether we get the article. Yes, so I'm not. This is the only way that I'm aware of. The articles in press. There's not a way to search for it in Scopus that I'm aware of. So use the Scopus source list if you want to identify only only the journals that have article in press as well. Use the Scopus source list for that, because otherwise it's more linked to the article level, not to the journal level. So look at this list.
Et- Okay, I don't see any other question related to our webinars. I think, Lucia.
Okay, so
Thank you. Donc, merci pour vos questions. Donc, les autres questions qui restent, ils sont trop vagues. Ils n'ont pas une relation directe avec le thème d'aujourd'hui. Donc, pour ne pas retenir les participants, nous avons fait le tour de toutes les questions relatives à ce webinaire et autres. Donc, merci pour votre présence, votre participation. Et on vous donne rendez-vous la semaine prochaine pour 2 autres webinaires, un sur Scopus et un autre sur Mendeley. Vous pouvez trouver les affiches sur notre page Facebook emist.cnrst. Sinon, on envoie les notifications de ces formations à toutes les universités et qui les diffusent auprès des chercheurs. Donc, ce sont les manières d'avoir les annonces de nos prochaines sessions de formation. Je vous remercie pour votre présence et à la semaine prochaine, Inch'Allah.
see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.